shout out to Dave from Comic Book Investments, who had his recent collectors auctions, massive PSA sale, which included the X-Men 266 10.0, which was the feature book that we talked about on last episode's show. At the time in which we talked about it, it was sitting at $8,000. A couple days later, it ended up closing for the whopping price of $10,001. Shout out to Key Collector, who I'm going to use their article here, which they compared the red labels of PSA to blue label sales. We're going to talk about the X-Men 266, but I'm also going to just do a quick Control F to show you guys the difference PSA, meaning when I do difference PSA Control F, you see it pull up difference PSA, meaning that this particular book outsold the CGC version by $5. And I can go to other ones. This particular book outsold the CGC version by $413, and so on and so forth, amongst all the auctions here. Just to make it clear, difference PSA, 7 things pop up. Difference CGC, 42 things pop up.
CGC to the moon.
CGC outsold PSA 42 times in this article. Now, let's give it a little bit of copium here for PSA. This is Dave's auction house. I don't know if Dave's auction house has the most eyeballs. No disrespect to his auction house. It's a wonderful, platform. It's not going to be able to really compare apples to apples, say, against like the most recent sales of, say, an eBay buy it now or a heritage auction sale, which is effectively what the Key Collector article is doing. But this kicks off our whole conversation about CGC and PSA, and maybe we can start with the X-Men 266 sale, which sold for more than the CGC one. Anyways, I'll throw it to you guys to kick us off. What do you guys think about all this stuff?
I watched Ryan's video on this that he did right after it all ended, breaking it all down. And my big takeaway is, and I'm looking at this through the lens of cards. Yeah, I mean, PSA underperformed more often, but I still actually think it was pretty successful because they weren't really that far behind in most of them. Correct, Ryan? There was a few that were like, they got their asses kicked, but generally speaking,
the average was about 15%.
And to me, that seems fine. Because I'm used to cards where I look at a PSA 10 and compare it to a Beckett 9.5 or even a CGC 10, and there's like a 40% difference in that price sometimes.
And I know we talked about this some on the last one, where I do feel like, at least with comics, you don't have, like, most of these books that we're selling were like, anywhere from like, say, like a 5 to a 9. There weren't a lot of the like 9, 8, 10. I mean, I'll say like the X-Men 266 was an outlier. Like, to me, that one performed exceptionally well for what it was, the PSA 10. But like when you're looking at a book like through a slab, you can do a pretty good job at assessing the grade. And so you're not going to really, I feel like you're not going to have that much difference, because somebody can make the assessment and go, if I buy this, I can crack it out and resubmit to CGC and get whatever grade. And whereas with cards, when you're talking about a 9.5 versus a 10 and all that, it is near impossible to make that assessment from looking at a picture on a screen. And so, I mean, to me, like, I still don't think PSA did bad. I mean, I think it was a successful auction, but they did underperform. I mean, and there were a couple that were bigger, like the Giant Size X-Men one was definitely a big underperformance. It was like $1,000. Like, I assume the person that bought it's already cracked it out, but yeah, that one there. And so, I mean, yes, I don't think it was a bad sign or anything. I mean, I'm cheering for PSA. Like, I want them to hit those numbers, because you want this competition, because that's what gives you improvements on both sides. So, I mean, I want them to do well, but I do think it was about 15% on average that they underperformed from what I saw.
Any of you guys have other thoughts about these particular sales? I mean, what do you make of the fact that, like, again, I mean, it's not quite apples to apples, although we do have some comparisons when Heritage sells a PSA book, because again, this is a smaller auction house. So smaller auction houses, I think, are always selling under market anyways, even in CGC cases. At least that's kind of my experience. But I don't know. Do you guys have any other thoughts about this?
Yeah, I think what you're saying is reasonable. I mean, the size of the auction house and the visibility is certainly has some potential of affecting, the values that the books bring in. But I also, it's just the beginning, like PSA's putting up a good fight. Things are doing well, even though everything's not matching or exceeding CGC yet. It doesn't look like PSA is about to pack up and leave, so more improvements to come, more books on the market, more liquidity, more people get them in their hands, decide which slab do they like. Do they like the substantial, sort of solid, heavy nature of a PSA slab, which a lot, and we've all heard this. A lot of people say, man, I got my first PSA slab. I like it a lot in person, right? So more people are going to have that experience. And then when it comes to the X-Men 266 doing 10K, like, this idea that the PSA 10 is pretty much competing with CGC 9.9s is a very legit sort of thing, right? The CGC 10, if the CGC 10 remains as stringent or as rarely distributed as it has been, it's going to be the unicorn grade. It is going to be, as we've all compared it, to the Beckett Black Label 10 in cards. And the PSA 10 encompasses what could have been a 9.9 at another grading company because PSA doesn't have a 9.9. And so it is effectively competing with the CGC 9.9 prices. And that X-Men 266 showcased that beautifully. I mean, a 9.8 is like $450. That thing did like 20 something times the value of a 9.8. That doesn't mean everything's going to perform the same way, but the direction that things are heading for PSA, being less than half a year in the market and CGC having decades in the market, uh, it's hard to not be optimistic about it. Like it seems like things are going well, and I think they're going to put up a good fight for years to come, and we'll probably see those values get closer to one another over time. That's my take on it.
Yeah, and like I follow PSA on Instagram, and like I see them posting very regularly, and you're seeing a decent number of vintage and like higher dollar books. Not definitely not the high dollar at the level of like some of the big CGC stuff, but like at least you're starting to get the thousand to multi-$1,000 books that I'm seeing posted on there, and that's what you want to see. You don't want it to just be like a bunch of moderns or that kind of thing. You want it to them to be competing across all levels.
Did you see the Bone One first print 9.8? That was a first print, right? Of
I
Bone
did,
One?
yeah, I did see that one.
Bro, that was one I was my jaw dropped when I saw it. I was like, am I looking at this correctly? Is this a modern reprint? No, it was the actual Bone One first print in a 9.8. That was a dope book.
Yep.
I saw someone in chat ask about CBCS. Can we when are the calling hours? Like, are they like, I mean, like, I'm half joking, but like, are they just, when's the last time they posted something on social media?
Like a week ago, they actually did. It was about a signing, and I thought of Ryan when I saw them post.
I'm looking for their booth that wasn't at New York Comic Con. Like,
yeah, I mean, they're performing about the same right now as PSA, but I don't consider them the number 2 anymore. I automatically consider PSA the number 2 just because they seem like they're on a growth trajectory, like that they actually have a lot of backing, to try to push things forward. Whereas, I mean, yeah, like we've seen, like CBCS, we just don't see that. You don't see them. Like, if it's kind of like there's a guy that I follow on Facebook, and he was talking about like people made comments. There's like, oh, he's liking his own videos and his own posts, and he's like, hey, I'm the first person to like my own stuff. If I don't like it, why would anybody else like it? And that's the kind of feeling you get from like CGC, PSA, and CBCS. CGC and PSA are out there like creating excitement and hype around their products all the time, and CBCS is doing nothing. And it's like, if they aren't excited about it, why should we be excited about it?
Great. I'm the first person to bid on my own books that go up for auction as well.
Yo.
I totally, I totally agree with you guys. I mean, yeah, the PSA is completely on the upwards trajectory, even if they never say like get to that, the peak of Mount Everest, in terms of the comic book secondary market values and things like that with CGC, but they're definitely better primed than CBCS. And yeah, CBCS is just, to your point, Rob, like, where are they? Like, remember when we did a show at the end of last year, there was like some article that came out about like, oh, there's new leadership and new restructuring and like some stuff is happening. But it was like this article that was like, just you wait, 2025 is going to be the year. And this year has been absolutely just like silence from CBCS. So I don't know if they have anything.
I've been trying to tell you guys for years and the chat.
Yeah. I mean, so it's just crazy. But you know what's funny about this? Just a little bit of like inside baseball for everybody in the chat here. You know, sometimes I joke with Ryan, you know, about whenever we make a video that's like about a grading company thing, we have like a comment bingo card that is like always going to show up. And a couple of them are like grading is a scam, you know, I'm done with CGC. But the other one that always shows up is, and this is why CBCS is the best company out there. And it's so funny to me because I'm like, who are the people? Like, I always see you guys posting this. Like, I see the comments. I see that it, like, you know, it might get like 10 likes or something like that. But I just don't know who the people that use this company actually are. But
They try to
anyways.
get the Beckett black or the black labels. That, I mean, that feels like that's their whole business model right now. It's like try to get, you know, your 10, your black label 10, and that's it.
Well, I think that kind of caps out our conversation about the PSA 10 X-Men 266 sale. Although I did think that this was interesting. If you guys know, the Comic Link featured auction is coming up. And they actually have, look at that, an
No
X-Men
way.
266 9.9 going up for sale once
Why
again.
do they
19
only
days
sell
left.
on Comic Link? Like they only sell
Bid on it, Swag.
Comic
Bid
Link.
on it. Bid on it.
Like,
Defend
where is
this.
Listen, I already shill bid it. You've been
You did?
outbid on this item, but in my defense, if you guys know Comic Link, the only way to have a watch list for items is if you actually bid on them.
Well,
So
and you don't
I
own
get
it,
in
so
there.
it's not shill bidding, right? Like, and so
That's true. That's true.
unless
I
you
would
do own
absolutely.
What if his friend
Well,
asked him to
you
bid
never
on it?
know.
That's
You never
hilarious.
know. Yeah, I may know the owner. I may be helping them right now. You guys don't even know. Perhaps I'm, you know, 4D chessing this right now, and this is actually my friend's book, and I'm advertising it here in the show of the
this is
Ungraded
driving
Truth.
me
Wouldn't
nuts
that
though.
be
It's like
something?
the last
Swag.
3 public 9.9s have been on Comic Link. Like, why can't one sell on like Heritage or Hakes or something like that so we can get like an official number out there? Like, I don't
That would be
understand why
awesome.
they keep showing up there.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Ungraded Truth podcast. To be able to watch the full show, click the link down below. Yep, that one right there.